This is a case study scenario involving a physical therapist, a skilled nursing facility, and the patient's family. Regarding the case study, our assignment was to perform an ethical and legal analysis to systematically examine the problem that occurred. Performing an ethical analysis can be achieved by using a systematic approach to find the solution to the ethical issue. The systematic approach involves gathering the facts, defining the issue, identifying the parties involved, listing potential solutions and consequences, and selecting the most ethical action to address the issue. In other words, this analysis examines alternative viewpoints and employing critical thinking to make a moral decision. Furthermore, performing a legal analysis will aid in proposing a legal solution by using laws and regulation. The process of performing a legal analysis includes identifying the issue, using laws against the problem to develop a solution, and figuring out a solution from applying laws to the given facts. Ethical analysis. The ethical problem that I identified in the case study was the confrontation from the skilled nursing facility. The facility administrator pressured the physical therapist about her documentation and if she was willing to revise her documentation from the previous day to avoid being sued for negligence. The alteration of a medical record portrays a dishonest and a guilty person in legal cases. Altering a medical record is a crime and can be used against medical malpractice cases. In terms of addendums, these are appropriate in situations of providing additional information to the chart. However, this will not replace the entire chart, and addendums made after a claim submission will not be taken into consideration. Taking a closer look at this case study, the physical therapist was presented with 3 feasible options, which were to keep her original documentation, writing an addendum, or completely revising her charting. With these options, she was ethically faced with approaching the situation either via deontologically for the patient or via the utilitarian method of satisfying the larger number of people. In the deontological approach to decision-making, the physical therapist will keep her original documentation and putting the patient's interest first. Whereas the utilitarian approach to decision-making, the physical therapist will engage in revising her documentation to benefit the nursing facility from being sued by the patient's family. Legal analysis. The legal problem I identified in the case study was the injury the patient sustained, and the alteration of medical record imposed by the facility administrator. The legal duty of the physical therapist emphasizes on facilitating more independence and improving the quality of life of individuals with impairments and limitations via empowerment, education, and exploring enabling techniques. They work with patients to improve their movement and to manage their pain. Even though she provided her service to the patient, there were many gray areas. The time frame was not specified as to when she ended her visit or if she did leave the patient room without placing the call light within reach. In one scenario, the physical therapist may be held responsible if she was still servicing the patient up until she left her room. In another scenario, the nursing facility may be held responsible due to its continuous duty to provide patient care to the patient being under their care. The patient further stated that the physical therapist did not put the call light within reach and that there was no one around to call for assistance. This portrayed that there may be an insufficient number of staff around and that she was not able to reach for the call light, resulting her to fall. In terms of the scope of practice of the physical therapist, placing the call light within reach did not fall under their expertise nor their responsibility of a physical therapist. The responsibility of placing call light within patient reach may ultimately fall under the policy of the nursing facility. Therefore, the therapist violated the policy due to working for the nursing facility and did not place call light appropriately. Overall, this incident was a case of negligence that caused harm to the patient and resulted patient to behave the way she did. Another legal problem I identified in the case study was the fact the administrator and the director of nursing wanting an alteration in the patient's documentation. As mentioned earlier, alteration of a patient's medical chart is a crime and can be used against medical malpractice cases. By doing this, I felt that this action puts the nursing facility at risk for being seen as having insufficient documentation for patient care and would weaken their credibility against a lawsuit. In addition, the Director of Nursing may be found guilty of alteration of the patient's medical record. Plan to right the identified problems. As mentioned above, there were many grey areas to examine when performing ethical and legal analysis of a malpractice claim. The therapist's best course of action would be writing an additional entry into the patient's chart with regards to the cares the patient received. This additional documentation will help with solidifying her documentation and strengthen the case against the defendant. Overall, the decision to submit an additional entry and not adhering to the facility administrator's recommendation put her at risk for her job security and achieving a poorer relationship with the nursing facility and staff. Regarding the incident of not placing the call light within reach, both the therapist and the nursing facility should always ensure proper placement of light to meet the policy need. With regards to the call light system, this is a huge factor in patient safety in terms of communication and patient care. This communication method influences the residents' overall satisfaction to their health care and act as a lifeline. To help prevent future residents from encountering a similar issue, the nursing facility should invest in a lightweight wearable device, either as a necklace or bracelet. Portable and wearable devices are convenient and may help with residents in emergency situations. Overall, I believe the therapist and the nursing facility should be transparent about their actions to minimize any legal actions against them.